Let me extend a word of welcome to you all, but more especially to Your Excellency President Costa and to Your Excellency and good friend President van der Leyen, Your Excellencies ambassadors of the European Union and South Africa, and the members of the EU and officials of the EU and South Africa. It's truly a pleasure to welcome you to the 8th South Africa-European Union Summit. We should have met a number of years ago, but we've been very busy with a whole range of challenges, including COVID, but we are really fortunate to have this opportunity now, and especially to you, President Ursula von der Leyen, to welcome you for the first time to this beautiful city of Cape Town. As I showed you the real Table Mountain, I said, no, it's covered by a blanket because there are clouds. But as typically as you would say as a mother, you said, no, it's a tablecloth. And as I looked again, I said, yeah, it looks like a tablecloth. I had wanted to show you Table Mountain in its splendor, with the sun lighting on it and showing its true beauty. We're delighted because through your coming here we are advancing the close relationship and the long-standing relationship between South Africa and Europe. It's a relationship that's underpinned by what we call a strategic partnership. This is a partnership that's based on shared values, a common interests, and clear vision of where the two parts of the world should be going. It's a partnership that seeks to create prosperity for our citizens and to promote peace, security, and stability. And we share a commitment also to another important value, which is inclusive multilateralism, as being the most effective means to address the most pressing challenges that are facing the world. We agree on the need to strengthen economic cooperation between us and to resolve whatever challenges that there may be, trade or otherwise, through negotiation. In this summit, we aim to further our constructive discussions on a new investment package by the European Union to South Africa. Now, through this, we aim to consolidate cooperation in areas such as science and technology, education, skills development, climate action, peace and security, health, and issue the critical minerals, and of course, trade between our two areas. South Africa is forging ahead with far-reaching structural reforms in our own political system. This we are doing to support South Africa's economic recovery. We are, as a nation and as a country, modernizing and transforming key industries, particularly what we call our network industries, as in energy, water, transport, and digital communications. We have already made considerable progress in this regard, but this we have been able to achieve in cooperating with yourselves as the European Union, particularly with institutions such as the European Investment Bank. Now, these reforms that we have embarked upon are contributing to the improvement of our country's competitiveness and also investment environment. An investment environment which we hope to keep on engendering so as to continue being an attractive place or country for many of your companies in Europe to come and invest here. Now, as one of South Africa's most important trade and investment partners, the European Union can play and does play a catalytic role in unleashing the productive capacity of our economy, but also to help equip our people, especially young people, to participate in the economy of the future. And we hope and that we can continue to rely on the support of the European Union and its member states in our efforts to address a number of our challenges, particularly how we can alleviate poverty and how we can also transition to a low-carbon economy, a feat that many of your countries in Europe have been able to achieve or are on the way to achieving more completely. But also how we can invest in climate-resilient infrastructure and grow our industrial capacity. This summit is taking place at a time of global uncertainty, a global uncertainty which we spoke a little bit about in our tete-a-tete, which is characterized by rising unilateralism, economic nationalism, and a retreat from what we've always wanted to advance, which is adherence to international law, a world order that seeks to advance all nations, which is also departing from what we would call human rights culture. We welcome the EU's support for multilateral institutions and the fundamental principles of the United Nations. We hope to work closely with the EU, as we've often done, as well as other partners to strengthen and reform institutions of global governance in order to make them more inclusive, but also to be capable of meeting the challenges of the times that we are living in and the future. We should collectively strengthen our voice, working together. And if there ever was a time when it is absolutely necessary for partners who share the same values to work together, this is the time, particularly when multilateralism is under attack, particularly when the world order process is also being weakened. This is the time to work together in defense of what we believe in: democracy, the rule of law, including the respect for international law and international humanitarian law. So we welcome the support of the EU for Africa's development needs. African relations with the EU should be built on a mutually beneficial partnership in the spirit of shared ownership, responsibility, respect, and mutual accountability. And we will also discuss our shared interest to advance peace, security, stability, and sustainable development. So we welcome you. This summit for us is important as it deepens and broadens our strategic partnership. We also want to thank you as the EU for supporting South Africa's presidency of the G20. You are one bloc that has demonstrated absolute positive support for the work that we have now started as president of the G20, and your participation in the various iterations that are part of the G20 process is supportive, is very positive and very progressive. So you strengthen our resolve to host the G20 almost 120 meetings, which will culminate with the Leaders' Summit later this year, where we will have the privilege of receiving you once again to South Africa. And with those words, I welcome both of you to the most beautiful country in the world and the most beautiful city that you have ever visited, Cape Town. So welcome. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. So it's now my pleasure to hand over to yourself, President Costa, to say a few words, and thereafter to Ursula van der Leyen.